Okay, so now we're going to be reading God punishes David. So here we are, reaping the consequences of what's going on. Again, the anger of the Lord was aroused against Israel, and he moved David against them to say, "Go, number Israel and Judah." So the king said to Joab, the commander of the army who was with him, "Now go throughout all the tribes of Israel, from Dan to Beersheba, and count the people, that I may know the number of the people." And Joab said to the king, "Now may the Lord your God add to the people 100 times more than there are, and may the eyes of my lord the king see it. But why does my lord the king desire this thing?" Nevertheless, the king's word prevailed against Joab and against the captains of the army. So the king's word, that was it. Therefore, Joab and the captains of the army went out from the presence of the king to count the people of Israel. And they crossed over the Jordan and camped in Aroer, on the right side of the town, which is in the midst of the ravine of Gad, and toward Jezer. Then they came to Gilead, and to the land of Tatim Hodshi. They came to Dan Jan, that's kind of fun to say, and around Sidon. And they came to the stronghold of Tyre, and to all the cities of the Hivites and the Canaanites. Then they went out to the south Judah as far as Beersheba. So when they had gone throughout all the land, they came to Jerusalem at the end of 9 months and 20 days. So that took a long time. I'm going to count a lot of people. I wonder how long our censuses take, in America, to count everybody in every city. So when they had gone through all the land, they came to Jerusalem at the end of 9 months and 20 days. Then Joab gave the sum of the number of the people to the king. And there were in Israel 800,000 valiant men who drew the sword, and the men of Judah were 500,000 men. And David's heart condemned him after he had numbered the people. So David said to the Lord, "I have sinned greatly in what I have done. But now I pray, Lord, take away the iniquity of your servant, for I have done very foolishly." So I wonder why. Because he added more to what there really was? I'm a little bit confused. Now when David arose in the morning, the word of the Lord came to the prophet Gad, David's seer, saying, "Go and tell David, thus is the Lord, I offer you 3 things." So he's going to give him a choice. Just pick your punishment, okay? "Choose one of them for yourself, that I may do it to you." I wonder if your parents ever did that. Be like, "Okay, you got 3 options. Here's your punishment." I don't know. I'd be scared if my parents were doing that. They'd be like, "You whooped. Get a lecture for 30 freaking minutes." Or I don't know what else. Grounding, I'd probably choose the grounding. So Gad came to David and told him, and he said to him, "Shall 7 years of famine come to your land? Or shall you flee 3 months before your enemies while they pursue you? Or shall be there 3 days plague in your land?" I would pick the smallest thing that lasts the least. Now the reason I picked grounding when it comes to my parents, they had heavy hands. They spanked to hurt. And lecturing, hearing that for 30 minutes, oh my goodness, he's about to kill you, Grounding, yeah, you can't see your friends for so long, but, at least that gets over with. Let's see here. "Now consider and see what answer I should take back to him who sent me." And David said to Gad, "I am in great distress. Please let us fall into the hand of the Lord, for his mercies are great, but do not let me fall into the hand of man." So he's like, let God give me 3 days pestilence, and maybe he'll drop it early because he's merciful, okay? Now, my dad, he used to do something. He would say, "Okay, you're grounded for 2 weeks." After 1 week, he'd go, "Well, you've been pretty good." So my mom would go, "What a softie." And so, he never really grounded us for as long as he said he would, But we never really tried to get in trouble. We were really pretty good kids. So the Lord sent a plague upon Israel from the morning till the appointed time. From Dan to Beersheba, 70,000 men of the people died. See, it was just the men, and, because they were in cahoots. So. And when the angel stretched out his hand over Jerusalem to destroy it, the Lord relented from the destruction, and said to the angel who was destroying the people, "It is enough. Now restrain your hand." And the angel of the Lord was by the threshing floor of Araunah, the Jebusite. So I wonder, I guess something about Araunah that God didn't want to take him. Then David spoke to the Lord when he saw the angel who was striking the people, and said, "Surely I have sinned, and I have done wickedly. But these sheep, what have they done? Lay your hand, I pray, be against me and my father's house." And Gad came that day to David and said to him, "Go up, erect an altar to the Lord on the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite." So Araunah, he was a special guy, okay? So David, according to the word of Gad, went up as the Lord commanded. Now Araunah looked and saw the king and his servants coming toward him. So Araunah went out and bowed before the king with his face to the ground. Then Araunah said, "Why has my lord the king come to his servant?" And David said, "To buy the threshing floor from you, to build an altar to the Lord, that the plague may be withdrawn from the people." Now Araunah said to David, "Let my lord the king take and offer up whatever seems good to him. Look, here are oxen for burnt sacrifice, and threshing implements, and the yokes of oxen for wood." So he's like, "Here, take what you need, And back in the day, that's how people were. They're like, "You need something, take what you need. What do you need?" People weren't selfish. They're like, "Mine, everything's mine." All these, O king, Araunah has given to the king. And Araunah said to the king, "May the Lord your God accept you." Then the king said to Araunah, "No, but I will surely buy it from you for a price. Nor will I offer burnt offerings to the Lord my God with that which cost me nothing." So David bought the threshing floor and the oxen for 50 shekels of silver. Boy, I wouldn't mind some silver. And David built there an altar to the Lord and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings. So the Lord heeded the prayers for the land, and the plague was withdrawn from Israel. See, even when God punishes people for things, he still heeds our prayer. He still, it's like when you get after your kids and they go, "Okay, you're right. I was wrong. I'm sorry." You're going to be more easier on them than if they're sassy. You're like, "Well, that's just not fair." If they own it and go, "I was wrong," you're going to go, "Okay, they understand what they did wrong. Let's move on from this." It's just how it is. So, anyway, next we're going to read the first book of the Kings. So, the Kings books are pretty interesting. It has to do with Israel's kings and what's going on during this time of the kings. So, we're going to be reading specifically Solomon made king. So Solomon was the son that David had with Bathsheba, not the one that died, but later on. So, God did do some good in Bathsheba's life, even though she went through stuff. We all go through stuff. God doesn't just take away every little thing that happens to us. I think because how can we help other people if we've never been through anything ourselves? We'd be like, "Oh, I understand you feel." They'd be like, "No, you never been through this. How are you going to help me?" But if you've been through the same thing somebody's been through, like one of my latchkey parents, his mom just died. And I understand how that feels. My mom died of cancer in 2019. It's the most awful thing. So, I know he's going to miss her forever. And, the grandchild, he's a good kid. He's going to, miss his grandma forever. I don't have any more grandmas. They're all in heaven. So, I had one when I married Micah. And, and then she passed away. I gained a grandparent when I married him. And she passed away and when our oldest was 2. So, they're gone. They're in heaven. So, but I have the memories and I still love them. And so you got to make good memories with your family because you never know how long you're going to have them. You might have them forever. You might not. Nobody's guaranteed the next breath. I could be doing my video right now and just, boom, have a heart attack, fall on the floor right now in front of y'all. I don't know that. I hope to God that doesn't happen. But I don't know that. I don't know what's going to happen in the next 2 minutes. Shoot. So, you just got to enjoy every minute that God gives you because it is special. It really is. So thumbs up, like, and subscribe, peeps. Bye-bye.